Yo, whoa, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I bring you guys a brand new video today. Today we're going to be looking at all of the starters across the 8 generations of Pokemon and ranking them 1, 2, and 3. And I gotta give a big shout out to my man Callum, HoodlumCallum, and of course Gameboyluke, and a handful of others who I saw do this before. This is a couple weeks ago, and I thought I'd jump on the bandwagon because it was kind of fun, and it's always fun to talk about various starter Pokemon. I'm definitely curious to hear your thoughts in the comments section below, so let me know where you rank your starters, because this is always a huge debate in Pokemon. And if you guys like this video and you want to see another one with me ranking mythical Pokemon, be sure to hit that like button down below. 1,500 likes and I'll do the mythical one as well. So show me you guys like it and we'll make it happen. Subscribe if you guys are new, and let's jump into it. So we're going to start with Generation 1. We're going to rank the starters 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to move all the way across the generations and kind of see how we feel when all is said and done. So let's jump into Gen 1 and I'll tell some little stories as we go through it. So Gen 1, I want to put a Charmander up number 1. Bulbasaur number 2, and Squirtle as number 3. And this is actually kind of funny because I like all the Gen 1 starters. I really do. And when I was a young wee lad, when I played Red and Blue for the first time ever as a youngster, I actually picked Squirtle, believe it or not. Squirtle was my first starter that I remember picking ever because I had a fascination with turtles as a young whippersnapper. But then I ended up, I actually remember beating the game with Charizard ultimately. Like, I think I restarted the game or whatever. I remember having Blastoise. I remember, like, this is a long time ago, but I remember having a level 100 Charizard. So Charizard always holds a special place in my heart. And I have to say, I love Bulbasaur, man. I think I would actually probably say I love Bulbasaur more than Charmander, except for the fact that I just feel like Charmander is more special to me. I have the Charizard car. For those who don't know, my license plate is CHRZRD. I got an orange car. I love Charizard. I love Charmander. And when I rank these, I'm going to also rank them based on their evolutions too. So it's kind of tricky. Gen 1's a little tricky for me because I do like all 3 of them in different ways. But I'm going to put Charmander as number 1. Bulbasaur is number 2, and Squirtle is number 3. But it is a pretty tough one. It's a very tough one because I really feel like Bulbasaur could definitely edge out Charmander for number 1. Squirtle's still going to be number 3. But again, it's kind of strange because, again, that was a Pokemon that I really liked when I was younger. Gen 2, man, I'm going to go with Chikorita here as well. And this is another interesting one because when I played through Silver and Gold and Silver way back in the day, I actually started with Cyndaquil first. I remember my first ever playthrough was with Cyndaquil. That was my first ever starter, but looking back, Chikorita is the more special Pokemon to me. For those who don't know, I got a shiny Chikorita. It took me 150 hours of hunting for it. It was my longest shiny hunt ever, and I got that in Heart Gold, Soul Silver. So Chikorita has kind of a special place in my heart, and it's definitely a Pokemon that I really appreciate. I don't hate Totodile by any stretch of the imagination. I actually think all 3 starters are pretty cool here as well, but to me, this is a pretty easy one. I really rank Chikorita as number 1, Cyndaquil, and then Totodile, no brainer, no doubter. But again, I did pick Cyndaquil first, if I remember correctly. So that was a long time ago, but I still would stick with Chikorita. And I think this is definitely an unpopular opinion. I think of all the gens, this is probably the one where most of you guys are probably not going to pick Chikorita. But I love Chikorita. I think it's a cool little dude. Gen 3, man, we've got Treecko, Mudkip, and then Torchic. Now, I don't like Torchic at all, and I don't really like Blaziken, and I'm just going to throw that one completely out. So just forget it. It's not even close. Mudkip is cool. I think Mudkip's a cute little dude, but Treecko definitely stands out to me. I remember my first playthrough was with Treecko. I think Treecko's got so much coolness to it. Sceptile's really cool. Not a big fan of Mega Sceptile. I do think Mega Sceptile leaves a bit to be desired. I kind of like Mega Swampert a little bit more, but I like Treecko, and I think Grovyle looks amazing. Definitely one of my favorite middle evolution designs ever. I think Grovyle is just incredible, so I'm a big fan of that, and I will definitely say that Treecko easily takes the cake here. When I played through Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, Treecko was definitely my go-to. And then when I played through Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, there were times where I picked the other ones. Like, I've definitely used the other ones, but Treecko definitely stands out to me as being the number 1 starter. And there was no doubt, like, that was a pretty easy one. Now, Gen 4 is pretty interesting as well. Gen 4, I remember I played through Diamond, actually it was Pokemon Pearl, but Diamond and Pearl came out. This is back in the day when the games came out in Japanese first. So I actually played through Pokemon Pearl in Japanese before I even played through it in English. So I got to play it months ahead of time. So I've been a Pokemon fan for so long, and this is one of the little stories I always tell to kind of solidify my Pokemon fandom. It just so happened my mother-in-law was in a business trip to Japan for work right when Diamond Pearl came out, so I had them pick up a copy of Pearl. I brought it. I actually played through it in Japanese. I didn't know a word that was going on. I remember there was a glitch where you can go to the Elite Four and surf into the Elite Four, and then you can get through the whole map and like get the different legendaries. It was really cool stuff back in the day. They ended up patching that on the US versions, but I remember I definitely picked a little Turtwig here. I had Torterra. That thing was awesome. Held it down, man. In terms of the other two, I do like Infernape. I never really liked Chimchar that much, but I had Infernape on one of my draft league teams, and it was one of the stars of the team, and it really made me appreciate that Pokemon way more. So I definitely think Infernape is an easy number 2 there. And then when it comes to Piplup, I love Piplup. Prinplup is okay. Empoleon looks really cool in sprite form, but when it came to 3D, when it came to X and Y and Sun and Moon, it just got ruined, man. It just looks so dumb in my opinion. Like, it's just standing there like this, and it kind of ruins it a little bit for me in terms of my thoughts and my feelings of Empoleon. But it's a cool Pokemon. Water Steel, very defensive. I definitely like those tanky kind of Pokemon, but this was a no-brainer, man. Turtwig, in my opinion, by far the best starter in Gen 4, but I can see the love for Chimchar. I definitely can, and I do think Piplup is cute. I'm not a big fan of how Empoleon looks, though, in the 3D, so that was a pretty easy ranking there. Now, Gen 5, I would say of all the starters, Gen 5 is probably the starters that I like the least cumulatively. Like, I don't really like these starters that much. I'm going to pick Snivy as my number 1. You can see there's a bit of a grass theme going on here. I'm going to pick Snivy as my number 1 because that was the starter that I ended up picking back in the day. I do remember using Oshawott and Samurott as well. I think Oshawott and Duat are awesome. I do not like Samurott, though. Not a big fan of Samurott's design. I think Tepig's really cool. I think Pignite's kind of cool, but I don't really like Emboar that much, so it's pretty easy to rank that at the bottom there. I do like Snivy. I think Serperior is okay. I definitely wish Snivy went a different route when it evolved, but it's a pretty cool Pokemon and competitive with Contrary Leaf Storm and stuff like that. So I'm going to put Snivy as the number 1 spot there, and it does seem like I got this grass trend going on, which is pretty crazy. I'm curious when I read your comments later if you guys generally stick to a type or if it's really just about the Pokemon or if this is just coincidental. I don't know, but Snivy was definitely my pick. And then let's just move to Gen 6 here. We've got Chespin, Froakie, and Fennekin. Now, Fennekin gets the absolute shaft being number 3 because Delphox is just terrible, dude. It's a terrible, terrible looking starter. I don't like Delphox at all. I'm sorry. If you like Delphox, I feel bad for you because it is like one of the most butchered designs. Like, Fennekin is an awesome design, and then Delphox happened, which kind of stinks. Froakie's really cool, man. I think Greninja's like one of those Pokemon, though, as cool as it is. It's one of those Pokemon that I think is like overhyped. I don't know. Like, I see why people like it. It's definitely a fan favorite. And I feel like sometimes when a Pokemon's a fan favorite, it's easy to not like it as much. We see that all the time in culture. I guess that's probably against my thoughts on Charizard, but nevertheless, but I'm gonna pick Chespin here because I think Chespin is super duper cool. I love Quilladin. I don't really like Chestnut that much, so I will be honest with you. I'm not the biggest Chestnut fan, but I will say that I like Quilladin and I like Chespin so much that it outweighs the like I have for Greninja. You know what I mean? So I just think Quilladin is awesome, dude. I know a lot of people make fun of him because he looks kind of doofy and kind of derpy, but I actually love Quilladin's design. I think it looks really cool. So I'm going to put Chespin as number 1. And we just got this grass theme going on. It is wild, dude. The grass theme has just kind of taken over here. And then we're moving to Gen 7. We got Rowlett, Litten, and Popplio. I don't hate Primarina. Like, I actually think Primarina is kind of cool, but I don't like Brionne, and I really think Popplio is only average. Litten's really cool. I love Torracat, though. Oh my god. Torracat is one of my absolute favorite middle evolutions. I think that thing looks incredible. I'm not a big Incineroar fan, though. I just don't like Incineroar's design. I don't like his pose, like the fighting pose. I'm just not a big fan of like the heel wrestler kind of idea. I love Torracat, though. And then when it comes to Rowlett, I love Rowlett. I do not like Dartrix. I think Dartrix's design is lame. And then I love Decidueye's design, but I hate its like pose in-game. Like, I hate how it's modeled, but seeing it animated is really cool, like in the show and stuff like that. So Rowlett and Decidueye are going to take the top spot. And it was also such a huge curveball, the fact that it turned into a ghost type. Like, that was kind of wild. I don't think anyone really expected that. I most certainly did not expect that. So that was pretty cool, and I definitely am a fan of seeing kind of seeing Rowlett and then Decidueye. Like, it's a really cool Pokemon. So I've got this massive grass theme going on. Will it continue for Gen 8? No. I'm going to rank Sobble as number 1. I do think Grookey looks really cool, but I think Grookey is going to get absolutely wrecked by bad evolution syndrome. It is going to get, if of all the 3 new starters, Sobble, Grookey, and Scorbunny, of the 3, Grookey is most likely to get absolutely mollywopped. Destroyed by its 3rd evolution. I have no doubt it's going to get destroyed. I'm sorry, it's going to be terrible. So I'm just going to rank it as number 2 already. I think Sobble's going to glow up and become awesome. It's going to be a water dragon is my guess. I do like Scorbunny. I will say I do like Scorbunny. I think a lot of people throw Scorbunny out the window, but I actually think Scorbunny looks really cool. So I can see my Gen 8 list changing. I actually could see it changing. If Scorbunny comes out with a baller evolution and it ends up being really cool, like fast, hard hitting, etc. I could see Scorbunny moving up to number 2, maybe even number 1, depending on an evolution. But right now I gotta put Sobble up top because I feel like Sobble is definitely number 1 in my hearts and needs me to protect it. He needs a good Pokemon trainer to protect him. So that's my number 1, number 2, and number 3 for all the generations. If I had to go through all the gens and rank my top 3 overall, that's very difficult. If I look at all my number 1s and rank my top 3 overall, this is so hard. I feel like my top 3 overall is actually Charmander, Bulbasaur, like, I don't know, man. Maybe Chikorita, dude. Like, I feel like actually Bulbasaur as a number 2 actually goes above all the other number 1s outside of Charmander. If that's because I'm not a Gen 1er, but I'm a Gen 1er, you know what I mean? Anyway, let me know if you guys want to see, well, first of all, let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below, what you guys think. Hit that like button down below, 1,500 likes, and I will do Mythicals next, man. That's still going to be pretty wild, and hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I had a lot of fun. I'll link a couple other people's, Luke's and Callum's and PattyTrills or whoever. I'll put them in the description too if you guys want to go check out their starter ranks, show some love their way, and that's going to be that for me, guys. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.